In the year 1206, a man named Temujin united the warring tribes of the Mongol steppe and was proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. He would go on to build the largest contiguous land empire in human history, leaving millions dead and reshaping the map of Eurasia forever. But to understand the Mongol eruption, we must first understand the world before it burned. The Central Asian steppe, a vast expanse of grassland stretching from the Black Sea to Manchuria. Here the wind howls like a mourning widow, and life is a harsh cycle of hunger, migration, and battle. The people of the steppe, Turkic, Mongolic, and Tatar, are nomads. They live on horseback, move with the seasons, and fight over pastures and honor. Among them are the Mongols, scattered clans with no king, no written language, no unified banner. Theirs is a brutal world of tribal warfare, blood feuds, and shifting alliances. To the south lies China, fractured between the Jin dynasty in the north and the Song in the south. To the west, Islamic Persia, ruled by the Khwarezmian Shahs. Further still, the great cities of Baghdad, Samarkand, and Bukhara. In the distant west, Europe, divided, feudal, and entirely unprepared for the storm that would come. In 1162, near the Anan River, a boy is born with a blood clot in his hand, an omen, some say, of greatness. His name is Temujin. His father, Yesugei, is a minor chieftain of the Borjigin clan. But Temujin's childhood is not marked by privilege. It is steeped in hardship. When Temujin is just 9 years old, his father is poisoned by rivals. His family is cast out, left to starve in the wilderness. His mother, Holan, raises her children in poverty, teaching them to survive with nothing but flint, bone, and will. Temujin kills his own half-brother over a dispute. He is captured by a rival tribe and held in a wooden yoke like an animal. He escapes. Temujin begins gathering followers, Nakor blood brothers who swear loyalty not to tribe, but to him. He forges alliances through marriage, gifts, and ruthless pragmatism. His greatest ally is Jamuka, a childhood friend turned rival. For a time they rule together, but as Temujin's power grows, so does tension. In 1187, the two armies clash. Temujin is defeated. His followers are boiled alive as a warning. But Temujin survives, and he learns. He reorganizes his army into units of 100,000 Arbans Ziun. Mingan, loyal not to tribe or noble, but to him alone, he promotes men for merit, not birth. He abolishes noble privilege. He outlaws the kidnapping of women and theft of animals. For the first time, the steppe has a leader who does not serve lineage, but purpose. By 1206, the tribes that once raided each other for sheep and salt now kneel as one. On the banks of the Anan River, the Kurultai, the Council of Chieftains proclaims Temujin as Genghis Khan, the unifier, the Khan of all Mongols. But unification was only the beginning. The wolves of the steppe had found their alpha, and now the world would hear their howl. Rise of the Khan. In the year 1206, on the banks of the Anan River, beneath the wide blue Mongolian sky, the scattered clans of the steppe came together in a historic Kurultai tribal assembly. There they declared Temujin the universal ruler. From this day forward, he would be known to the world as Genghis Khan, Genghis Khan, oceanic ruler, a man chosen by eternal heaven. His kingdom was unlike any before, not of stone palaces or golden crowns, but of horsemen, forged in hardship, bound not by blood but loyalty. Genghis Khan restructured Mongol society into decimal units, squads of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000 each, led by a Noyan, loyal not to tribe but to the Khan himself. Merit, not birth, now dictated rank. In 1209, he turned his gaze south. His first target, the powerful Tangut Western Shia kingdom, nestled between deserts and mountains. The Tangut resisted behind fortified cities, but the Mongols laid siege like an ocean around an island. In a year-long campaign, Genghis cut supply lines, poisoned wells, and ravaged the countryside, until the Tangut king capitulated, offering tribute and submission. But tribute was never enough. The Jin campaign. To the east, the Jin dynasty ruled northern China, a powerful empire of cities, walls, and armies, numbering in the hundreds of thousands. The Jin had once humiliated Temujin's ancestors, dismissing the Mongols as barbaric pawns. Now Genghis would return the favor. In 1211, the Mongols poured across the Great Wall. Genghis split his forces. One column rode through the passes of Shaanxi, the other along the steppe edge. They moved like smoke and struck like lightning. Jin frontier garrisons crumbled in panic. Mongol scouts harassed cities by night. Fear preceded them. In 1213, Genghis launched a triple assault across the Taihan Mountains. His son Joki captured Daetong. Tului ravaged the countryside to the south, and Subutai, his most brilliant general, penetrated deep behind enemy lines, sowing chaos and confusion. The Jin emperor, in desperation, sued for peace. But when he betrayed the truce, Genghis responded with vengeance. In 1215, after a prolonged siege, the Mongols captured the Jin capital of Zhongdu, modern-day Beijing. Fires raged, palaces crumbled, civilians were massacred. The Mongols left behind ashes and the echo of hooves. Zhongdu had fallen. Northern China was Genghis Khan's, but his ambition was far from satisfied. Vengeance in the west. In 1218, Genghis Khan stood at the pinnacle of his power. He ruled from the Siberian forest to the Great Wall of China, but his gaze turned west beyond the Tian Shan Mountains to the wealthy Islamic empire of Khwarezmia, a land of silk, science, and sprawling cities. The Mongols came as merchants first. A diplomatic caravan of 500 traders was sent to the border city of Otrar, offering peace and commerce. The governor accused them of espionage. He seized their goods and executed them all. Genghis Khan sent 3 envoys to demand justice. Shah Ala ad-Din Muhammad, ruler of Khwarezm, humiliated them, shaving one's head, killing another, and sending the third back alive. This was not diplomacy. This was war. In 1219, Genghis Khan unleashed a storm unlike anything Central Asia had ever seen. He divided his army into 4 columns, each 20,000 to 30,000 strong. They moved swiftly, independently, across mountains and deserts. Town after town fell. Bukhara, Samarkand, and Bukhara urged. Genghis spoke to the people. I am the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you. Mosques became stables. Scholars were executed. Cities were burned to the ground. The Mongols spared only craftsmen and engineers. They would be useful in future sieges. The Shah fled east, pursued relentlessly by Subutai and Jib. The 2 generals chased him across Persia. through the Caspian, until he died in exile on a barren island in the Aral Sea. But the conquest wasn't over. In 1221, his son Jalal ad-Din raised an army in Ghazni. He met Genghis at the Battle of the Indus. Outnumbered, Jalal fought valiantly, but Mongol discipline proved unstoppable. The river ran red with blood. Jalal escaped by plunging his horse into the river and vanishing into India. By now, Khwarezmia had ceased to exist. Every city razed, every resistance crushed. Genghis Khan had erased an empire. This was not conquest. It was retribution. The thunder reaches the Caucasus. The Khwarezmian Empire lay in ruins, but Genghis Khan was not yet done. He dispatched two of his most brilliant generals, Subutai and Jib, on a reconnaissance mission unlike any in history. A deep raid across the unknown West. They were given 20,000 men and a simple order: find what lies beyond. The Mongols crossed the Kopet Dag Mountains into northern Persia. Cities surrendered or were obliterated. Then they rode into the Caucasus, where the ancient Christian kingdom of Georgia stood defiant. King George IV mustered 70,000 troops and met the Mongols head-on. But discipline and deception won over the day. Subutai faked a retreat, then turned and annihilated the Georgian army. Tbilisi fell soon after. Beyond the Caucasus lay the steppe of the Kipchak's Turkic nomads, fierce horsemen like the Mongols. They allied with the Cumans, who fled west, seeking help from the Kievan Rus, the Slavic princes of modern-day Ukraine and Russia. 12 princes formed a coalition. 80,000 warriors assembled on the plains near the Kalka River. In 1223, the Mongols struck. The battle began with a feigned Mongol retreat. The Rus followed for 9 days. Then the trap was sprung. Subutai wheeled around with his heavy cavalry. The Rus were surrounded. Their forces were annihilated. The princes captured. 3 were executed under a wooden platform, slowly suffocated beneath Mongol feasting. The message was clear: no land is beyond reach. But Subutai did not stay. He turned his horse and rode back east 8,000 kilometers behind enemy lines. This was no invasion. It was a warning. The Mongols had seen the lands of the West. It was one of the greatest military reconnaissance missions in history. The last campaign. Genghis Khan, now in his 60s, turned toward his final campaigns. But even as he prepared to consolidate his empire, cracks began to show. His generals, sons, and wives had grown powerful. He divided the empire among them. Joki, his estranged eldest, was given the western lands, but father and son barely spoke. Chagatai, the stern second son, and Yedai, the shrewd third, were entrusted with key regions. Tolui, his youngest, stayed at Genghis's side, commanding the elite corps. The Khan himself led one last expedition against the western Shia, who had defied his call for troops during the Khwarezm campaign. The Mongol fury returned. Cities were reduced to ash, temples, libraries erased. In 1227, as his army besieged the western Shia capital, Genghis Khan fell ill, some say from a wound, others from fever. Another legend claims he was thrown from his horse. He summoned his sons and generals. They asked who should succeed him. He replied simply, "Let it be Gedai." Then, the man who had forged the largest contiguous empire the world had ever seen died in silence. His body was taken to the sacred Burkhan Khaldan mountain, his resting place a closely guarded secret, never found to this day. As was tradition, his funeral escort killed everyone they encountered to preserve the root. The land was silenced for its Khan, but his empire was not finished. His sons would ride again, and the world had yet to see the full fury of the Mongols